Hey, welcome to Acoustic Chef. This is Capel.
This is D-Will.
This is Regina.
Ebony.
And this is Regina.
We should have
rehearse that.
This is our first time trying it out. Y'all don't hold us accountable too much. How y'all doing? What's going on with y'all?
We're good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a rainy Saturday morning. We got a tropical storm coming in, so it's gonna keep us in the house for most of the day.
Pretty much.
Yeah, we need to stay in the house. We're still mask on, so at least this rain and keep some people off the streets and out of day parties.
Exactly.
That's good.
Guess what happened, guys?
What's up?
What happened?
Y'all gonna be mad at me, but so with the bike escapade, I was wrong again.
You didn't go 12 miles.
Nah, I did more. The app was wrong.
So was you wrong the first time when you thought you was wrong, but you was actually right?
The first time I was closer to being right.
So how many miles
you
did you
actually went? Yeah.
Closer to being right.
Yeah, no, when I first, anyway, so I drove it, you know what I'm saying? And I Googled it and stuff like that to see what the miles were that I was doing. So of course I can't account for the miles that I'm riding around the lake and stuff like that. I can only like estimate, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I did between 20 and 25 miles the last time.
Wow.
That's pretty
well. But doesn't the app has like a GPS tracker? So how's it like right but not right but almost right? Like
because it's that specific app or whatever. I wasn't using a bona fide app that I know that actually works and stuff like that. I just downloaded the app,
Yo, man, just get you an Apple Watch or a Garmin or something, bro. Just get one of those and you be
those
good.
are not but they're not 100% accurate.
Well, they're almost most accurate. Right?
They're pretty accurate.
They not as far off as what you did. I guarantee you ride 25 miles thinking you went 12.
I use Google though, man. Google is my buddy.
Google Maps to map it out, or
yeah. You can use Google, yeah.
But the Apple Watch and like Nike Run and all those kind of apps, they give you a map. They actually show where you went in the distance, and and it tracks you like by time and distance.
From now on, I would have to calibrate. I would have to like ride like on the street from point A to point B and see how accurate the watch would be or whatever, versus just trusting it. I'm done trusting or whatever.
The watch is accurate.
It's pretty accurate, yeah.
I went riding this morning before it started raining. Baby came out there with me. It started raining, and we was out there like Love Jones riding.
Oh, that's cute. That's cute. Let's see the video. If you don't have a video, it didn't happen.
Exactly. You and these bike escapades, man.
Straight up. I like riding the bike.
You're gonna make this a regular segment. So
right.
What's up with the bike escapades?
Straight up.
I didn't even get a workout in this week, man. I've been so off. I got one workout in. I've been off for real. Kudos to you though, man.
What kind of workout? What kind of still with the bands and stuff like that?
Bands and running. That's what I've been doing mostly. The exercise bands and running. I haven't been doing anything. It's always an adjustment for me when I start back to work. So I just started back to work, even though I haven't been going to the office. So I gotta just adjust. That's it.
Running outside, like
running outside. Yeah.
I hate running, man. If I run, it gotta be for a purpose. Like I'm playing basketball, football, something like that. I can't just running, just looking at this. I don't like that, man.
I used to feel that way about running. I don't like run. I'll jog, and I started jogging when I was having. I hated being at home. There was a time where I never wanted to be at home just because too much was going on. So I started jogging, and then I started running 5K, entering marathons and stuff like that until I went to the doctor one day because my knee was hurting. And he was like, what are you're going to have to stop doing whatever you're doing. You're going to have knee surgery. And so I ended up having to have knee surgery. And he was like, you can't run anymore. You can't jog. You need to do some water aerobics. So I tried water aerobics, and everybody there looked like they were over 70. And I was like, nope. I'm not doing
water aerobics.
I'm not. So I went back to the doctor. I said, I'm not. It's all older people there. I don't have anything in common with those people. He said, well, I do water aerobics. So you're trying to tell me I'm old? And I was like, I mean, well, yeah, I guess. So I don't run anymore. I do go, I like being outside. So I do a lot of walking and light jogging now. Since that knee surgery, I can't run anymore.
Yeah, I do that too. I didn't like running, but my thing is I have a treadmill. I won't even get on the treadmill because that is so boring to me. But if I go to the park or something and I have some good scenery, I mean, it's not that I enjoy it, but I know if I go a mile or two, I have to turn around and get back to my car. So it forces me to have to keep going and do something. So that's why I go out there. And then, you find a place where you like the scenery. Mm-hmm. It works.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something that I like to do too. Hey, y'all got to keep y'all fitness up just in case y'all decide that y'all want to go blow up y'all boyfriend's car. And, you have to bear crawl away.
You gotta have it core tight. Gotta have it core tight.
Man, hey, did y'all see the video that somebody had made with there's a bomb?
I saw it.
Oh my goodness.
I had to repost that. It was so funny. That was
craziness.
So if you look closely, you can see she's trying to set it on fire with one of those like fire sticks that you use to light candles and stuff.
Right.
Like that was
like a butane lighter or something.
Yeah. Like she didn't you're supposed to strike a match and just throw it.
She didn't see what she
reached in the car. Nope. She reached in the car. I'm like,
you're not supposed to do it.
Okay, you're right.
Sometimes you might
right.
We don't know why she did it. Sometimes who knows?
I seen.
Doesn't ever get that serious though. But no, go ahead.
Did you see her jump back though? Did you see the explosion? Even the person that video
it knocked her back. It knocked her back.
She didn't jump back.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right.
She got knocked back.
Nah, like Capel was asking, has it ever gotten that serious for y'all?
Exactly.
Not for me. That just wasn't my thing. I think, when you're young and immature, but the thing is she don't look young, but I don't know. But I mean, I've done some things not like that. I was never a person that keyed cars and slashed tires and all that kind of stuff. But to each his own. I think it comes with immaturity. But at the same time, I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Is it worth going to jail?
No, the only thing that's worth going to jail for is my children, and if it ain't, no. So she didn't save her child from a building, then it wasn't worth it.
My homeboy beat up. Shout out to beat up. He went to Prairie View too, or whatever.
All right, PV.
You know what I'm saying? He say he had a girl or an entanglement type situation or whatever. That's the new word these days. But he was like, I don't know what he told me what happened or whatever, but I don't want to dive too much in his business or whatever. But in any event, the girl took his car or whatever. He's in college, so you ain't got no money in college or whatever. She took his car and went like to a dirt road and was just acting a fool, like kicking up rocks, chipping his paint all up and all kind of stuff or whatever, and then like left it out there. I think she like busted the windows too.
Well, he might have busted her heart. He busted her heart. She was like,
man.
let me.
I don't see how I could ever get that serious. I'd have been in some relationships where the chick was like mad crazy, and I found out later, and I just walk away from it.
That's a smart thing.
I don't know, but that's crazy, man. Risking going to jail. Y'all saw Eyebrows when they showed a mugshot with the video.
Was that her mugshot though? Because I've seen two pictures though.
I saw one where they had like a burnt face, like it was just completely.
I didn't
that was real. That wasn't real, but it was funny.
I've been crazy. I have. No. I'll admit that I've been crazy before. I didn't burn anything up, but I got up that morning and I had a class early Saturday morning, and the Spirit of the Lord said, "You need to stop by his house, girl."
Yes, it was the Lord.
I woke up and I was like, "Holy Spirit, what are you telling me?"
You better listen.
I went by his house and I knocked on the door. And he didn't answer, but there's a window by the door and I could see inside, and his sofa was right there, and I could see a female's purse and a pair of sandals. And I was like,
could have been his mom's.
Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Holy. He only had a 1-bedroom apartment. So I'm like, let me keep knocking. I had a key too. So I was gracious by knocking. I used my key, but he had the top lock on, so I couldn't get in. And then And then I could see a little piece of the blind open up, and I saw a pair of eyes. They were his. He looked directly at me, put the blind back down, and walked upstairs. I said, oh, okay. So I waited a few minutes. I knocked a bit more. He didn't open the door. So I felt the window a little bit, and I could feel like the air from the air conditioner coming from the window. I said, I could probably slip my hand up and open up this window and just go inside. I mean, I have the keys, so it's not like I'm intruding. So I did.
Right.
I opened up the window, went inside. I went up the stairs, and I heard the shower running. And I was like, oh, so he just gonna hop in the shower with this chick. Oh, okay. So I waited a few minutes and I said, Holy Spirit, tell me what to do. And I didn't hear anything. Like, Lord, don't leave me or forsake me, Lord. Please tell me what to do.
Holy Spirit left.
I shouldn't have been in that house. Holy Spirit didn't tell me to go in. So I ripped that shower curtain back. I said, I just want to know what you're doing. And I could see the corner of his face go up. He smiled a little bit, and then he came to himself like, wait a minute, I'm in the shower with another chick. The girl screamed and hopped out, ran out. And he looked at me and said, what are you doing here? I said, what are you doing? And then I started boxing him, and he was slipping and sliding all around in the shower.
Oh, Lord.
Then he hopped out, and we like fighting. He's like no clothes on, swinging and banging. And the girl came back and said, I heard about you, and he told me y'all had broke up. I said, well, we are now, sweetie. You can have him. And she said, oh, I don't want him. And we both left. Like, me and her are friends now. And I don't know where he is. But
at least you didn't get into it with the other chick. So that's
it happens that way. I've had some friends.
her.
Yeah, I have friendships because of things like that as well. So I mean, things happen. So
I don't think that happened with dudes too often. Yeah, you been smashing my girl. Hey man, let's go out. Let's go bowling this weekend.
Well,
it don't happen like that too often.
It doesn't happen that way. But sometimes when you know that the other woman was bamboozled and you can't, you know, it just depends. It's all about maturity because it's not always that other person's fault. It's you know, the common denominator there. So
yeah.
A boy was stupid for that. Now go ahead. What? Go ahead.
No, I was just about to ask, have you ever been cheated on and you know had a problem? Some extra?
Nah, I ain't never. So put like this: I may have been cheated on, but I don't know about it. I don't know about it.
I always find out. I
mean, because I'm too oblivious to those things. Like when I'm in a relationship, I'm like, I trust you to do right. If you doing wrong, then if I don't know it, it don't hurt me. I'm not about to waste my time following you, being suspicious. And I'm not saying that's what you did, Regina. I'm just saying for me, like, as long as the relationship is good, I'm thinking everything fine. Even if we do have issues with the relationship and we having problems, my go-to is not she's seeing somebody else. And even if it was, I'm not going through her phone. I'm not trying to find things that make me think she with somebody. I just never been that way. You know, so I could have been cheated on in every relationship. Hell, I don't know, you know, so.
Yeah.
Hey, did y'all see, what was you about to say?
Nah, nothing, go ahead.
Oh, did y'all see, I didn't see the interview, but did y'all hear about the interview with Sister Nancy?
Sister Nancy?
I don't know who Sister Nancy
from, you know, bam, 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 bam. That Jamaican song or whatever.
I know that song, but yeah, I don't even know who that person is. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know what.
Yeah, tell us about what happened.
Yeah. Anyway, Sister Nancy from Jamaica or whatever. She got most notably, y'all may know the song from Belly because it came on when like I think when Nas was walking in the club or something like that or whatever. But she wrote that song like in 1982, and she didn't even know that it was popular. That it had the impact that it had until she moved to the States in 90, like I want to say like 1990 something or whatever. So maybe like 10 years later. And then she didn't get like a royalty from it until another maybe 10, 12 years and stuff like that. And that song been sampled by Kanye and Jay-Z, you know what I'm saying? It's been sampled like I think it's been sampled over 80 times or whatever. And it took her 20 years to make any money off of that song. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
So did she have the rights to it, or she recorded it with a company and they were just taking the money that, you know, from people paying?
Honestly, I don't know. I think it was because she was out of touch because she's in Jamaica or whatever. You know what I'm saying? and it was popular there too. Well, no, she said she got a song called 1-2 that was more popular in Jamaica. She didn't realize that specific song Bam Bam was as you know, popping like it was. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a company or what it was, but she getting paid now. Even her H.E.R, whatever that stands for. I don't. Is it,
Oh yeah, her. Okay, yeah.
yeah. She just sampled it too, or whatever.
Yeah.
Hey, is Sister Nancy a nun? She a
Nah.
Jamaican nun?
Nah,
No.
she ain't even close to
No,
being
she
a
just
nut.
the sister. Okay.
I was just
Well,
curious. Her name's Sister Nancy.
well,
I was just wondering.
moral of the story is, you know, now it's a lot of stories like that. So it's like, you know, now protect your stuff, you know, copyright. I know she didn't know, and I know a lot of people don't know, especially when they attach themselves to labels and businesses, but protect your shit. So,
Exactly.
so in 20 years, we shouldn't hear this story anymore from these types of stories.
That's why I asked, did she not have the rights? Because if she didn't have the rights, then them artists know what the hell they was doing. They know how this go. They know who they exactly. So either somebody was getting money from it and they went through the right channels to get permission to use it, or they was just flat out using it and not caring. And if that's the case, they wrong for that. If they knew that they were just using it for free, they dirty. That's some messed up stuff. But I don't think that was the case. I think it probably had something to do with you know, somebody was getting money from that. You know, somebody was getting paid.
Also, if she didn't know the setup with like ASCAP and BMI and, you know, all of these different writers, companies and stuff like that or whatever, then a lot of people just make music or just do artistic things, period, and don't think about the business aspect of it, you know, until later or whatever. I feel like it should be something in place to protect those people or whatever, because that's I mean, it's a million stories like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. So, in other news, to something a little bit more serious, have y'all heard about what's going on in Portland?
Man.
Yeah.
Woo.
So in Portland, I honestly just know it's a lot of civil unrest. It is really going down there. I know that they're still protesting. They didn't brought in the military. They treating the people like straight up. I mean, I don't even know what to call it, like animals. I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I've seen so many videos. I'm seeing videos with like mostly white people getting
Treating them like
right.
treating them like black people.
Yeah, exactly. They treat them like us. They had a guy in the military, a Navy guy. Like he walked up to him to ask a question. He clearly is very calm, not like there's no threat at all. They start wailing on this dude with their batons. He took it like a champ too. Like I thought he was a Hulk for a second because he got hit in the leg twice, didn't even budge. Then they hit his arm, turned around and walked off. They ended up fracturing his arm, and they did a story on him. You know,
he
they
like
did, like,
about 50, 60 years old.
Yeah.
He's an older guy.
And listening to what he had to say made sense to me. He said that he walked up to them to ask them who were they, because they were not wearing any insignia.
Right.
The Navy vet, he knows that you're supposed to be able to identify what branch of the military you are. He said for all we know, they could be a rogue terrorist group doing this because they have no insignia and they're not identifying themselves, and that's not how it's supposed to be in this country. So he merely walked up to them just to ask them, who are you? Like, what branch of the government are you? And they would answer his question. They start beating on him, and that's what they've been doing in Portland, man. So like, what have y'all heard? Because I know it's a lot that I'm missing about the story.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard, you know, ever since the, you know, boycotts and the unrest following George Floyd, you know, the boycotts have kind of simmered down, you know, across America a little bit. You know, here and there you hear about, you know, a group of millennials or Gen Zers are still keeping it going. But Portland never stopped. And they pretty much have this area, and I forget the area is called something. I don't want to say like Area X, but where they have barricaded.
The Chaz
I'm sorry?
Zone or something. I think they call it Chaz or something.
Okay.
Like that.
And they like kind of barricaded, you know, with their bodies, a big portion of the area where people have to do work for the city, you know, whether it's police departments, you know, city buildings and things like that. And they're like, no, we want some change and we're going to stop. You're not going to come into this area. So, but the crazy thing is, off, you know, on and off, you'll see something in the media about it, but it's not really being covered. So I'm like, what's really going on in Portland, and why isn't the media regardless of it's CNN, Fox, MSNBC, why isn't it being largely covered? And these people haven't stopped. These people are even doing where they're withholding eating and all kinds of boycotts.
Wow.
So it's craziness, but it's something that our eyes need to be on and to see. And these people are fighting for the agendas, behind like Black Lives Matter. And like you said, it is a lot of white people. It's not us out there, and I'm sure it's some of us, but when I see the videos, it's people, and they're not backing down.
Well, I think it's over with. I don't know if there's any developing news or whatever, but recently
it's not over.
But the military, when they came in, they kind of shut everything down or whatever. Like they tore through the barriers and stuff like that. So, like y'all said, that's not being reported. We don't know exactly. Like you saw that one story, but I'm sure there's other stories.
Yeah, I think that they all just there together. I don't think that the people left.
They didn't leave. It's still going on. I just read a story 2 days ago where the mayor was actually giving some kind of speech, and he was tear gassed with the group of people that's protesting.
Yes, I saw that.
Like the city officials are completely against Trump and what he's allowing
his
to
agenda.
Happen.
Right.
His agenda, exactly. Like the mayor. Like the headline was, the mayor is pissed. Mayor gets tear gas. Mayor gets tear gas. With protesters. So I'm like, it's still going on. They brought in Department of Homeland Security, and what I didn't realize is Department of Homeland Security consists of like 3 different groups of government affiliations. It's it could be people from the transportation, like I can't remember the name, but the transportation the people that's at the airport, they work at the airports. They like the security, whatever,
like the TSA.
TSA. It could be TSA. It could be the government group. I can't remember the name. Homeland Security that watches the borders and stuff like that. It could be that group, and it's another group of people that they consist of, and I was looking at well, Alexa was explaining to me because I asked her. I asked her.
Alexa.
She's smart.
Exactly. The story was explaining how the rights that particular area of the government has during 9/11, they gave the rights to the Homeland Security to be able to add more protection as an added layer, from terrorists. So it was not designed for what they're using it for now, but they're using that because of course every policy, every organization they create by the government, it has loopholes, and they are defining what they're doing in Portland as domestic terrorism. So therefore, the Department of Homeland Security has a right to be called to bring order or just to this particular situation, and that's not what it's supposed to be used
bogus.
For.
Right.
That's bogus.
Right.
They did the same thing to Martin Luther King and his assembly. They did the same thing to Malcolm X and his assembly. The same thing to the Black Panther Party and their assembly or whatever. You know what I'm saying? They established different groups of the government, FBI, COINTELPRO, and all of that stuff, and they defined it just like you saying now. They just threw some blanket definition on it. You know what I'm saying? Some blanket label, and then allowed these different groups to go attack these people. Man, that's bananas.
Well, I heard they're headed to Chicago next.
Heard that.
Yeah.
Too.
And that's a totally different agenda. That's
sure
totally
is.
different.
Absolutely.
Sure, and that's just the worst response that you could possibly have to helping the situation in Chicago. Like
I
the
called
military, you did, but that is the worst response that you could possibly have. I mean, it hasn't happened yet because there's a little pushback. So they actually hadn't deployed the troops there, I don't think.
Not yet.
But if they do go there, that's man, it's crazy. It's gonna be interesting to see how that situation unfolds.
That's because there's no tact. You got people that practice, like you taught to go to war, that you trained to kill, that you trained to have apathy or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's going into a place, they're not going to see these people as Americans. They're going to see these people as a threat, just like when they go to these countries overseas. They're
the enemy.
Yeah.
It don't matter if they kids, if they women, you know what I'm saying? Men, civilians, it doesn't matter. They be over there raping people. They be doing all kind of stuff or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to deploy that type of mindset or whatever. I do agree that if Chicago is as bad as they say it is, something needs to be done to help the innocent people of Chicago or whatever. But to just straight up deploy the military without a function, hey, just go there and clean the streets up, which is I feel like that's what he did in Portland or whatever. There's no, you got to have a specific skill set to deal with people and to be able to police people at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Just like, I mean, y'all, oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, like, I think on one of our previous shows, we talked about how guns and things like that mysteriously show up in certain areas. And I can just see something like that happening again. You know, we already have a lot of guns in the hands of people that that should not have them. Exactly. And it's going to be a war zone. You're coming into these people's place and, you know, and it's like, if you have nothing to lose and you feel like you're being attacked, like what's going to happen? And I also can see that there'll probably be some weapons and some things that are just going to show up on blocks, just like those bricks during the protests.
Exactly.
And that will cause the all-out war to try to justify why we're shooting, you know? So I hope that if this happens that media, honest media, I hope that they're there, willing to be on the lines to show everything. Yeah. But if I was a Chicago native or I lived there, I'd be very careful. I'd be thinking about building a bunker or a basement or just getting out of there.
There's going to be a lot of innocent loss of life, I feel, in Chicago.
I think so.
Different than what happened, what's going on in Portland. I don't think anybody's going to die in Portland.
Yeah,
I don't think so either. I think, you know, and the thing is, like, it's crazy how history always repeats itself. These things happened before, but they hadn't happened in America. They've happened in other countries. Well, the military, they pretty much put the people in position to where they're basically like being policed 24/7, and those people eventually have an uprising. It eventually becomes the military against the people. You know, you see these in more third world countries. You don't see them in, you know, countries like ours or in France or, you know, places like, you know, in Europe. But in third world countries, you see it all the time. You still see it now. And those people that they're going to police, those people, they're leaders. Let's be real. These people are leaders. These people, you know, they have followers, but they have leaders. They have people that's like, nah, we're not going down like that. We don't care that y'all bringing the military in. We gonna fight. You know, they already preparing. They already preparing for what they want to do and what they gonna see. So it is going to turn into an all-out war. But the thing is what normally happens where you think the leaders think that they're going to bring in a powerful military force to shut shit down. Those people eventually bond together and they create an uprising. So if anything, this is going to bring the people that's killing each other together. To fight against them, to fight against the military, because they all know that we all being hunted now. They coming at us, so we got to do this together. I mean, I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's how it goes down.
I think that's what will happen, because they'll realize that their own lives are at stake and their livelihoods and whatever it is that keeps them going every day, it won't anymore. So now it's time to, you know, stop fighting each other and band together so that we can continue living where we live. We care about where we live. We're loyal to the soil. I hear people saying that all the time. And so now you have this military coming in trying to take over. And I don't think they're going to let it happen. But I do think there was going to be a lot of bloodshed, a lot of loss of lives if they go in there just thinking they're going to tell those people what to do. Nobody likes to be told what to do, especially here in our country. We're not used to that. So don't start it now.
Yeah, exactly. Crazy. Did y'all hear what he says? Oh, before you start, did you hear what he said specifically about Syria?
Who is he?
I'm sorry.
Orange man?
I apologize. Yeah,
45.
Orange man.
I heard. I read what. No, I heard what he said. Yeah, I did.
So he was on Hannity, and he said specifically that he spoke on Iraq and Iran, and saying that we was going to pull the military out of those places. And he said, and Syria as well, because now we control the oil there. So that's what it's all about. It's always an agenda.
Yeah. It's money.
And the fact that he can say that and nobody bats an eye and makes a comment about it is
he
like.
He said it on Fox News. So
is that even the most outrageous thing he said? And nobody, I mean.
Well, I don't think he can say. I don't know what he can say for us to bat eyes anymore. Like
Exactly.
I saw what an aptitude test he was talking about the other day.
Oh my
Y'all,
do y'all follow, does anybody follow Sarah Cooper? She's like a comedian that does she does reenactments of him, and she puts expression with it. She makes it to where I can stomach hearing some of this stuff, and I'm just like, he's like, oh, doctors have said this has never been done before. You know, they gave me a test, and it was like man, woman, TV. Say it again, man, woman, TV.
No. Person, man, woman, TV, camera.
Right, and then I had to do it again. He said, go back to question number 1, question number 10, and no one's ever done this before in the history. No one's ever done this, so. I don't know what he can say. Honestly.
There's no bigger narcissist than Trump and Kanye. Those are the 2 biggest narcissists I have ever seen.
And they both billionaires and they friends. Like Regina, I've always said this at school. Our kids that are like in special ed, they seem to know each other before they even know each other. They like flock together. Like this is the same thing. 2 special people. They just happen to be rich and powerful. But anyways, on a more positive note, news came out that the first black-owned stock exchange will be opening. That's very, very big news.
That's huge.
Major.
That's significant, definitely.
I'm gonna be 100% honest. I don't know how that translates to. I saw a little bit about it as far as we should be able to borrow more money from different banks and stuff like that or whatever. And it wasn't just black. It's really minority because there's Latinos that are involved as well. So it's not just black or whatever. So it's minorities or whatever. But I'm waiting to see how that's going to translate.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be completely honest. I don't know much about the stock exchange, the stock market. I know you do, Damien. You've been doing it for a little while. But this makes me and I am a little interested prior to this because, like I said, D. Will, he's been doing it for a while. He's been trying to get me on it. But this makes me more motivated to learn more about stocks,
Yeah.
And so I'm excited, to kind of like get my feet wet and kind of dig
index
in.
funds.
Exactly.
Yeah. Get in it. It's fun. I mean, I think we gamble on life and our bills and things every day. Every day. So I just say, hey, just start, even if it's just like penny stocks or whatever. I'm not huge in it. I know it. I get it, but you gotta feel comfortable in it. And people aren't gonna just say, let me take my whole retirement or $5,000 on my mortgage money and chance it on something that I don't know. But I think get familiar with it, play with it, follow the trends. Like I'm not the person that knows everything about stocks, but I know what's popular and what people like. Like I put one of my favorite stocks, and this is my own opinion. No one go out and buy this, or anything.
This is a disclaimer.
This is a disclaimer.
This is not advice.
The opinions do not reflect the Acoustic Chef. But I purchased Beyond Meat stock when it went public. And I'm not vegan. I don't plan to be vegan, and I don't want to be. But I do know the trends, and I saw that a lot of even fast food companies were offering vegetarian and vegan options. So I purchased that stock, and it's been going up ever since. And all I regret is that I didn't purchase more of it. Yeah. So I think like if you see something that you're like it's trending, like right now, health, especially with social media, Instagram, all the fitness models and things like that, and even in technology, I know technology is taking a hit right now in some markets because of the relations with China. Right. But when I see things take a hit, to me, it's on sale. Okay, so that means the stock is on sale. Let me look into it. Just like the travel industry right now with airlines and cruise ships and things like that. So
That's smart. That's real smart. I'm gonna take that little bit of advice right there and use it.
Me too. I've been itching to get in. I had a student who this spring when we all went virtual, he came on one of the Zoom classes and he said, Miss Cooper, if I hadn't had to go on lockdown and quarantine, I never would have read this book. And he taught the whole class about, how he's starting to buy into stocks and things like that. And the boy,
Oh.
I mean, his dad is also, you know, he's advising his dad on what stocks to buy. And he said, Miss Cooper, when you do this, this is what you need to do. And I was like, okay, you know, I'm sitting here taking notes. And he said, you know, if you leave it in here for this amount of time, you might be old, Miss Cooper, but you'll have a lot of money. And I was like, dang, I mean, okay. You know, I'll be able to put it away from my kids. But he started learning about it because, you know, I was encouraging him to read. So, I mean, you could teach yourself how to do it. You don't even need, I see people offering classes on Instagram and things like that. You don't even have to do that. You can pick up a book and read, just like my 6th grade student did, a 12-year-old boy, and started investing his money that he made washing cars the year before. And now he's set himself up because he told me he wants to retire by the time he's 28.
I know that's right.
Like,
He'll be able to do it.
yeah.
Hey, Regina, when we get off, I need you to tell me who that student is so I can set up an account. I'm going to give him Hawk Bucks for his stock advice.
You will. I will.
Let me know too.
I will too. The boy he's brilliant. He's brilliant.
Nah, that's what it is. What we end up doing with our money is spending it. And the last 3 letters of spend is end. It spells end. So when that money goes out, it's not coming back to you. You know what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
when you take your money and then invest it in something, it's not 100% guaranteed that you're going to grow that investment or whatever, but you have a better opportunity if you take the time to study. Don't just throw your money into anything. Okay, everybody's buying these new jeans, so I'm gonna go invest in this company. You don't do that because that's not a good prospect or whatnot.
Right.
You know, clothing and stuff like that could be a fad. Now, if you got in on Levi, there was no such thing as jeans ever, and now this company created this new, you know, pair of pants or something like that, then that may be a sound investment. But if you can ever invest in huge companies and stuff like that or whatever, always take those opportunities or whatnot. Stop buying rims. You know what I'm saying? Stop buying cars and
Grills.
stuff like that or whatever. Yeah, stop buying stuff that is not going to help you, that you're spending money that's like ending money. The money that you know what I'm saying, you're getting from your job, you blowing it on nothing. A car is a terrible investment except for the fact it gets you from point A to point B. You know what I'm saying? If you buy a house though, it can grow. You know what I'm saying? You can, if you purchase real estate, that, you know, I purchased houses for like 90 something, you know, $1,000 for, you know, 150, 200, and those houses have increased in value. So when I get ready to sell those houses, I have equity built up from paying off the loan for paying the mortgage, and also the house goes up in value. So now, you know what I'm saying? Let's say if the house costs $100,000 or whatever, and over the course of 5 years, I paid, you know, $50,000 or whatever, which is, you know, probably not gonna happen. But let's say I paid 50,000 and the house went up. Now the house is worth 200. You know what I'm saying? That's 150,000, you know, 150 or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Difference or whatever. That's going back into your pocket. As far as the stock exchange goes, when you invest in companies, you're investing money into that company or whatever that you're thinking, okay, this company is going to grow. You know what I'm saying? Let's say take a company like Netflix or whatever. Netflix came up from the bottom or whatever, and they constantly grew and grew. They went from at first you was like renting video games, and stuff, and DVDs, all that type of stuff, and it just grew into a streaming
like
company or whatever.
Yeah,
exactly. Once you start seeing Blockbuster going out of business and stuff, you should have been putting money into this company or whatever, because this company is growing. So it's like basically when you invest, you own a piece of this business,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? So that, let's say it's a brick and mortar or it's a building, you own a brick in that building. The more stock you buy, the more bricks you own in that building. The more that building grows, the more you own, you know, the more you a partner into that. You know what I'm saying? You're an actual partner. So you have to pay attention to your investments and make sure, hopefully, they're making the right decisions and stuff like that. At this moment in time, just like back in 2007, 8, 9 and stuff like that, when the housing bubble happened and the stock market was crashing, everybody was selling. Everybody was selling their stocks because they were afraid that the American banking system was going to crash or something of that nature, which is exactly what's going on right now. Everybody's afraid. Guess what Berkshire Hathaway is doing, and Warren Buffett and all these? They are buying stocks
Buying
right
up.
now.
Yep, it's the best
Everybody
time.
else is selling. Guess
Yeah.
what D Will doing? Guess what
Buying.
Damien doing?
It's on
Buying it
sale.
up.
I'm buying stocks right now or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because everything is not, I don't feel like everything is going to bounce back, but most things are going to bounce back. I mean, granted, this pandemic doesn't last for 2 years or something like that or whatever. Most things are going to bounce back to normal. Things like the movie theater, things like
Travel.
restaurants, travel.
Travel's going on. Everybody going somewhere soon
Yep.
as they can.
I got a
Yeah.
trip planned in October. I'm gonna have to probably
Exactly.
postpone it, but I had it in June. I was like, nah, push back to October. October's not looking good, so I'm gonna push it back to maybe February. But I'm going.
Yeah. I got one planned for December,
Yeah.
and I mean, travel's gonna bounce back. So now's the time to get in if you're gonna get in.
But
Speaking
go
of
ahead, Will.
speaking of travel, Airbnb has an initial public offering, meaning they're not a publicly traded company yet, but they're looking to be a publicly traded company. So I'm not telling you to invest in Airbnb, but I am. If they open up their initial public offering at a decent price, and when I say decent to me, that's about 20, 20 and maybe 25 and lower. I don't like to purchase stock that's like 100, $200 per share, or
I'm good at
even
40 and low.
I don't
40
even
and
like 40 and 50 per share, or whatever.
I
I
don't like
prefer,
it, but if I
yeah,
believe in you,
yeah, I prefer to be around the 20, especially when you just open up. Because a lot of times what happens is these companies, they'll open up at like $30, and
overpriced, yeah.
then be heavily overpriced, and then they'll go down to like 18, $17, and you're like, man, I done just blew a
You could
bunch
have
of money.
wasted, yeah.
Yeah, you
Exactly.
could have waited.
Waited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
I share this story real quick.
go ahead.
If you're getting into stocks, please make sure you do your research and don't let it stress
Always.
you out. Because there was a story of a teenager who, I think he was like maybe around 18, 19, but he put some money into stocks and he was using I think Robinhood or Acorn, one of those
Yeah,
apps,
Robinhood is one of
and
them.
he ended up seeing that he ended up owing like maybe like $500,000. I'm making up a number, but it was like literally a number that was that high. He got extremely depressed and he killed himself. Turns out that Robin Hood, once they found out what happened, they tried to explain that he probably didn't even owe that much money because of how the app, I don't know stocks that well, but it was talking about how things turn over in a 24-hour period, and in that moment it might have showed that he owed negative whatever, but if he would have waited another certain amount of time, it would have showed what he really owed. And so I'm just saying, make sure I'm using that story as an extreme because I know most people probably wouldn't do that, but make sure you know what you're doing before you go all in like that, because you could end up like really really putting yourself in a bad situation if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah,
Right.
don't just throw money into the stock exchange. Make sure you do your. I like Robinhood because it has a lot of information on it.
Yeah.
Like you don't even have to know the symbols and stuff. You could just type in sodas and it'll bring up beverage companies and stuff like
Yeah.
that or whatever, and you go on the different symbols and it'll show you what the experts say, you know what I'm saying? Yay or nay, you know what I'm saying? Or whether you should buy or whether you should sell, whether you should
Yeah.
hold this stock or whatever. So I
I
like
agree.
them or
I like
whatever.
Robinhood as well. I use Fidelity mainly because that's where my
I
savings is.
Yeah,
But I
I
really
had
like
them.
Robinhood because on my phone, Robinhood is so easy.
Exactly.
And then they give you a free stock. I mean, I know it's a cheap stock, but you get someone to sign in to Robinhood, then they just throw something at you.
Straight
So
up.
Okay.
Another
I need
thing I
to look at
wanted to
Robin
say,
Hood.
you can't save your way to wealth. You're not going to be able to save your way to wealth because the more money you make, the more you're taxed. The more
yep,
money we
fees.
make, yeah, exactly. The more money we make as a whole, the more that money is inflated. So you can't save your way to wealth. Study and invest. Like, be serious about it. Um, I want to also say, man, be in dealing with anything. When somebody's giving you advice, and when you're learning something, be a note taker. Don't ask people the same question like over and over, and stuff like that or whatever. Be a note taker, like take notes and be able to reference you know, your ideas and what somebody taught you or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody has a photographic memory. You're not Stephen Strange, like you know what I'm saying? So take notes. Like, if you're serious about anything, take notes.
Right.
Yeah, and I throw a plug in. I'm not gonna talk ad nauseum about it, but daily fantasy, like D Will knows, I do daily fantasy. A lot of people like they look at that like, oh, that's just gambling. No, it is very similar to the stock exchange. I've made a lot of money doing daily fantasy. When I first started, I thought, oh, I know sports. Let me just pick some good players, and it's much deeper than that. You have like the people. They have people that make a career out of this. They've made millions of dollars. They use analytics to know the trends in certain teams and how they play. Different sports, you have to play a different way. Baseball, you have to stack teams against certain people. Like if pitchers are left-handed in this team, there's data that shows that this team hits good against lefties versus righties. And basketball, it's just it's a complete. It's very very detailed. And me and D Will was talking about it one day. He was explaining the strategies around stock. I was like, dude, that's exactly the rationale I take when I play daily now. Because, like I said, and the reason I'm throwing that out there, I'm not going to go into detail about it, maybe for another show. But if you are a person who's scared of the stock market, but you know sports, you can use daily fantasy. You can go to FanDuel or DraftKings or Fantasy Draft, sign up, learn how to play with a small amount of money, the same rationale that Ebony was given, kind of get your feet wet. It's all an investment. You're invested in players instead of invested in businesses. You're invested in these players that you know, to make money. I've made I don't know how much I've made, but I've had days where I've made, you know, hundreds of dollars, and I have days where I go without winning anything at all. Then I've had days where I won in the thousands. So I've done pretty well. So, you know, that's just something to look into. Like I say, maybe a conversation for another day. But if you got any more questions about, you know, stock market, you can call 1-800-D-WILL.
I think it's just it's all about getting your feet wet and being more comfortable with what you're doing. Because when I add a little bit more money, every time I add a little bit more money, I do a little more research. And then once I become comfortable with that amount of money, and then I'm like, okay, let me put a little bit more in until I become comfortable with that. And then, so, I mean, I haven't lost anything, you know, thank God for that. But I was very nervous initially, and I was very low risk initially. But the trend is upward, you know, even after a recession or what we're going through now with this pandemic, things do recover. So I'm not too worried about that yet, because I'm not like, you know, close to retirement, but I'm comfortable where I am. And so next year I'll look at it again and add a little bit more. So
That's what's up.
Yeah.
What we looking like on time, Capel?
So we pretty decent. We're about to move on to the next topic. We're talking about money, and we wanted to have this conversation about reparations because, as many of you know, North Carolina, the first state in history to announce that they passed a bill that they are going to give their residents in North Carolina reparations. And while their bill is not really reparations in my opinion, we want to talk about reparations because it has come up a lot since the Black Lives Matter movement has been pushing since George Floyd's death. And you know, I've heard theories similar to, I have theories, not theories. I heard people say, hey, you know, black people shouldn't have to pay taxes for a certain amount of years or
forever.
Yeah, exactly. We should be giving all of us, like T.I. said, every black person should get $1 million. You know,
that was
like
Kanye.
stuff like that. You know.
That was Kanye.
That was Kanye?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, Kanye, you know. Hey.
Oh wait, no, that might have been T.I., but Kanye said about something about everybody with a baby.
No, that was Kanye. Kanye said everybody with a baby.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Okay.
T.I. said everybody black should be given $1 million. You know. I'm not saying that's what we get. I'm just saying I think T.I. said that. I'm just saying.
I know where we should get.
Yeah, that's been a lot of conversation. So to give you some clarity on North Carolina, the reason why I say it's not really reparations is because they're putting money into programs with the intent to build knowledge for black people to get to a place of generational wealth. You know, so they basically put money into programs. While I think that's a good idea, I don't think that should be called reparations. It shouldn't be called reparations.
That's a step.
It is a step, but it's not a reparation step.
But that's
it's
something,
just a
that's
step.
not something new though. There's
It's
so
not.
many programs, right? I don't need anybody else telling us what we need to do. It hasn't worked. I don't need any more Girl Scouts. I don't need any more programs. I don't need any more housing seminars. Give me my 40 acres and a mule, because that's what you promised contractually. I want that, because when I get my acres, I can choose how it's going to make money. I can blow it, or I can make money off of it, or I can leave it with my family. I don't really want a mule, but whatever, whatever. But I want what you promised.
I'll take
whatever's equivalent.
Right. And since you you locked up my people for minor offenses and marijuana, but now you're making money off of it with your vast pieces of land, I think that we should all get a buy-in. We should all get, it should be a agreed upon percentage of the marijuana industry. And maybe even, I don't know, I know it's not a crack cocaine industry, but whatever you're profiting off of people being locked up behind some of these things that you pushed in our communities during the war on drugs and the crack epidemic, and also what you're making off of these weed farms, we need a buy-in in that. Because our lives and our fathers and women and children have been jeopardized for decades for that. So no, I want my 40 acres. I don't want a pacifier. I can't be bought. I don't want just $1 million would definitely help me right now, but we need something bigger than that, because that'll be gone. A lot of us have debt, you know. You give us that $1 million, what you gonna do, tax me? You know, if I don't have programs or a business to put that in, what am I gonna do? You cannot, it's just like when someone wins the lotto by going to the league, and people, you know, they're like, oh my gosh, look at how you squandered all this in the club with buying bottles. But some people just are ignorant on purpose, but some people just are ignorant. We just don't know, and we don't know where to put the money and how to do it. You know, so no, I want what you said you're going to give me. Give me that, just like you give everybody else. Everybody else in the history of this country has been able to get reparations, even though they were not brought here as slaves. And I want that. And people are still getting reparations. I read an article recently about some Native Americans in Oklahoma. They just passed where they were able to get some portion of Eastern Oklahoma. This just happened. So they're getting casinos where, you know, and there are many states that pay other states to purposely not put casinos in their states. So like, why do you think Texas, you know, with Galveston and all that, why we don't have, you know, it's not because people have Christian values. I know the regular voter thinks, oh, it's
that's
because
what
we
they
don't
try to say though. Yeah.
No, that, you know, it's because, and even I went to Hawaii, and someone said, I was on a tour, and someone told me, and I should look this up for myself, but it was someone that's a native of that state, said that they get some type of kickback or something from Las Vegas to not put casinos there, because they already live in paradise. It's Hawaii. So when Hawaiians go to want to go on vacation, the only place they normally go in the States is Vegas. So why would they go to Vegas if they had what Vegas had? So yeah, I want my reparations, and I'm not budging.
I think the reparations conversation is twofold, though, because I do want that $1 million, but I also want the programs that come with it to teach my children and myself how to utilize that money, how to build a business, how to become independently wealthy and self-sufficient. Because like you said, with that $1 million, of course, it's going to be squandered if you don't know what to do with it. It doesn't matter how much money you have. If you're not good with your money, if you're not a good steward over your finances, then you're going to go somewhere and you might as well bury it, because it's not going to grow for you. So I want the programs, as well as give me all of that. I want all of that. The other thing is, how do we decide who gets it? I was listening to this blogger on YouTube, and she was talking about reparations, but her mom was like half Black and half Italian, and her dad was like Puerto Rican and Caucasian. And so she was like only 1/4. And she's like, do I get reparations? Like, how much Black do you have to be? Is it 1 drop of Black blood, or, you know, how much Black do I have to be?
They call us all Black. So
yeah, exactly.
Don't change it now.
It was
they don't have a problem finding Indians and, you know, Native Americans.
A whole conversation. And then how far back do you go? Do you does every single Black person from, you know, that's alive get these reparations? Or, you know, if me and my white husband and our little mixed baby, do we all get something because he married me because I'm Black and now we got a little mixed baby? Do the mixed baby get something too?
The baby do, he don't.
Yes.
Maybe we do the paper, maybe we do the paper bag test like they used to do.
Well, maybe that's a thing. Yeah.
Hey, bro, you ain't dark enough, my boy.
You ain't dark enough. No reparations for you.
I think if people start, you know, going into that idea of, well, you shouldn't get it because, as long as you get it, shut the hell up and don't worry about it. Don't worry about who the government giving it to. If you getting your stuff, if they decide to give it to a person who looks white, but they have, they half and half, you know, they biracial and their mom is Black and their dad is white. Don't worry about them. Like I feel like that's going to be a issue if we ever do get reparations, but it shouldn't be an issue. As long as you getting your money,
it should be.
What about Rachel? What about Rachel Dolezal?
Listen, it shouldn't be. I didn't say that it shouldn't be addressed to make sure that people who don't need to get it. What I said is it shouldn't be an issue because what's going to happen is it's going to overtake the fact that we're getting the reparations in the first place.
But they did this. They did this with the Native Americans, though. You know why you have so many white people talking about? Well, my grandfather was part Cherokee, so I can't. Your grandfather was not Cherokee.
Yeah, they lied and put their names on the rolls.
What I just said was they're going to have to delineate who gets it and who doesn't. But what should not be the major issue is who gets it and who doesn't. It should be addressed. But if that conversation overshadows the fact that they want to give us reparations, then we may not ever get reparations. That's my point. Like it has to be addressed. It has to be addressed. But we cannot let that be the issue. Exactly. It can't be the issue.
I'm dark enough, so I ain't tripping.
I mean, I appreciate y'all. You know, I feel like I got blessed with some education today for real. Ebony, with what you just said, and D. Will, what you explained about stock market. The reparations, you know, as far like I'm with you, Regina. I like the idea of getting that $1 million or getting the money that they gonna give us plus the programs. And the reason why I feel that way is because I think I look at a situation like, if you give the money without the programs, then you're 100% right, Ebony. You're going to have people who just ignorant, who going to spend that money, and before you know it, they broke again. I mean, it's happened before. People get settlements on lawsuits, and they come into a lot of money, and they rich, and then before you know it, it's all gone. They done gave money to the family. They done went partied, go to the club, you know, drinks on me, by the bar, and next thing you know, they ain't got no more money. So it's going to happen that way if we just give people money. There needs to be some type of education that goes with it. I mean, I look at a situation where you create some type of educational programs nationwide. I don't know how you would disseminate it, but the government, they do that stuff all the time, and you have to go through that before you can get paid.
That's what I was gonna say.
So you can't.
Yeah,
even
I just don't trust them
money,
to educate
you know?
us, though. I don't trust them to educate us anymore. Like, what are you going to educate us to do? To put money back into your programs to keep you being millionaires? You know, that is why it's like if I could trust that it's going to be us creating curriculum or us saying what we need and where the money is going to go. If it is a stipulation that with your $1 million, it must go back and cycle in the Black community.
Into your community, right.
Then I may agree with that. But I just don't trust that somebody that's still teaching me about Columbus is going to come and tell me what to do with the $1 million that I had to beg for them to give me. I just don't trust it.
So it could be exactly what you just said. It could be just like when we was talking about the Police Reform Justice Act, when we talked about, you know, cops having to go through a curriculum that was pulled from the African American Museum.
Right.
The curriculum can be created by Black people. Something, you know, and it could be specifically on how do you create general wealth. It could talk about investing in you know, housing. It could talk about the Empowerment Act, on the empowering zones. I mean, like how you can, you know, create businesses in those zones to get tax breaks. Opportunity zones. So it can talk about the training could be geared towards strictly how you make money and create general wealth with the money you have. And I'm not saying that's the best way to do it. I feel like because 40 acres in a mule, I don't even know how that looks. Is there enough land to give everybody 40 acres? What is that?
What is that? How it looks, but go ahead.
So
I don't know, but I have a coworker that told me he has 236,000 acres in his family, and I was like, "Where at?" And he just told me, and he said, "We split it up. I still have," and I wrote it down, like 98,000 acres of that. That's just him. So
Wow.
he just lets people deer hunt. He doesn't even do anything but let people come and hunt on his land.
Exactly.
So I don't know. I don't know how much is in this country, but I know that they seem to figure out how to find money, land for everything else. You know, so let's start with that. And yes, the programs can be there, but which Black people? Don't put Candace Owens. Don't put. I mean, which Black people are
Well,
going
we
to
traded her. The Black delegation
Oh,
already traded her
okay.
to the white
Yeah,
Right.
supremacists.
her Black card got snatched a long time
All right.
ago.
Yeah, we
She's no
traded her for
longer.
like we give her away and we could take Eminem.
Yeah.
You know.
No, Eminem already there. We already traded Eminem for OJ.
Oh, okay.
No,
Hold
we
up.
do need some scholarly Black
Peep
folks
this
who
out.
know how to do these things to be teaching us how to
This
do them.
this is the Homestead Act of 1862, passed on May 20th, 1862. So almost however many years for like just what like because last month was May. No, we a couple months away from that.
Mhm.
So the Homestead Act accelerated the settlement of the Western Territory by granting adult heads of families 160 acres of surveyed public land for a minimal filing fee and 5 years of continuous residence of that land. So these people were basically given land long as they stayed on that land for 5 years. Long
And
as
who
they
was those? Who were those people? D. Will it was any head of a Caucasian home?
it
It's always
wasn't
been more of them in numbers, so they were able to find enough land for each of them. If each of them
absolutely.
chose to participate in the program, it was enough for them. So I think it's enough for 13% of us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So my 4 to 5 asks for reparations would be like as we all stated, financial, economic, and free enterprise literacy, no taxes for at least 5 generations, reopen the Homestead Act, or choose a time in history where we can purchase land for the same amount that they were allowed to purchase land for, you know what I'm saying,
I like that.
at certain time.
Yeah.
And annihilate, totally obliterate voter suppression. That's something that I feel like we don't talk
Yeah.
about enough.
I
like
love
those
all of
five
that.
asks. Yeah, I like
I
those
do
5
too.
asks.
I do too.
Hey,
I think that
you ought to put that out, man. You ought to put that out. Push that somewhere. I mean, I'm gonna highlight
Yeah.
that.
I just
on
did.
one of these videos. Hey, bro,
Well,
you
we
gotta
need to take the bill to Austin. We can stand for that.
Straight
You know,
up, straight up.
take it up there.
I
You
like
know,
that.
but I think that we Native Americans and those that were brought here without their will should never pay tax or fee for living here. So I love the 5 generations or whatever, no tax, but
Yeah.
no tax.
But you know, I think that's part of the reason why we're African Americans. We've been Negroes, we've been black and
Other
stuff like
people.
that. Is because in Columbus's journal, he admits that, well, I ain't gonna say admit, I mean, because at that point in time he wasn't trying to lie and do cover-ups and stuff, but he
He just
wrote that yeah, he was just living life, that the people that he found when he came over here were what we consider Native Americans today and black folks.
Yeah.
That we have today. You know what I'm saying? So
I believe a lot of us were already here. So.
yeah, so and they also admit that during the transatlantic slave trade, they took black people from here to Spain. Now, if you go look at this, the black population in Spain, they look just like us.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So these were the same people. Black people, they would have us believe that they were the only explorers and things of that nature, or stuff like that. So either we was here because of Pangea already, or black people had boats and stuff like that as well. You know what I'm saying? It
You
was
know, if you
traveling.
believe
I
in
believe
if
that.
you believe in the theory of Pangea, that it was one continent, and then because of the continental shift that the land broke apart into 7 different continents, then that pretty much explains why why it was people from Native Americans and black people already in America.
All
If you
over.
believe exactly, if you believe that theory, I'm not gonna
Oh,
go into whether I believe it or not, but what I do believe is that there were Native Americans and black people in this country before Christopher Columbus arrived. Um, there's even documentation to support that. They don't say enough about black people already being in America. They just talk about Native Americans because it probably was more of them than black people, or maybe they were dark skinned people who lived the same type of lifestyle as the Native Americans. They just were the skin color was black and brown. It wasn't just brown or whatever. But they don't do enough justice for who we are as a people. Like I read somewhere, people always saying they took slaves from Africa, and like, nah, they didn't take slaves from Africa. They took doctors and engineers
Yeah.
and teachers, and they took
And
leaders from Africa and made them slaves.
made them
So
enslaved people.
exactly, they took very intelligent people, and of course, over generations of time, those people lose their culture. They lose their culture. They lose their belief systems. They don't know who they are as a people because nobody's teaching them that. And so over the years, we've been conditioned to be, how our community has been conditioned to be what it is. Like the Willie Lynch papers. If you haven't never read that, you need to read that. It's a perfect example of why we are where we are. Not example, but the literature in it pretty much explains why we are where we are. And they've been trying to discredit that. I've read several articles talking about how they don't think it's real, and that there's no real Willie Lynch, and that this person's lineage can't be traced and stuff like that. So there's so much that they try to do to discredit the truth. So everything y'all saying about reparations, Damon, I really like those 5 asks. I mean, when I say that you should push that, I mean, I'm serious. I'm like, who can we get that to where they can say, you know what, this is something right here. This needs to be what we're asking for.
I think it's fair too.
It is
I
fair.
think it's all fair. Yeah.
You need to add about 4 more to it, because once you send it to somebody, they're gonna be like, well, we can give you 2 out of 5. So if we add like 4 more, then we can get to those 5 that we really want.
The art of negotiation.
Yep, all of it.
Yeah, so we getting kind of low on time. D Will, what you got on toe, man?
No, I got air nothings today, man.
Okay, well then let me go ahead and throw something in the mix. You blessed us with the Jordans last time, so I'm gonna bless y'all with these Jordans. You can't even see them.
They glowing.
You walking on halos again.
Let me cut the light off. Let me cut the light off so y'all can.
What the ladies got going on today? I like y'all hair today. Y'all looking beautiful in black.
Thank you.
For real.
Well, thank you.
These the Jordan 11s, blue legend blues. These are the North Carolina pair that came out back in, I can't remember the year, but they just like the ones Damien showed last week, but they all white with the Carolina blue Jumpman, the white Carolina blue bottoms. As you can see, like D Will, my bottoms are pristine.
You haven't worn them.
I learned how to levitate. I learned how to levitate when I walk in.
Nice.
Nah, sweet.
So Ebony and I were discussing our hair not too long ago. A few days ago, we were talking about how we take care of our natural hair, and our natural hair as opposed to wearing protective styles. And then at what point is it no longer, like, when are you going to wear your regular hair? And so when this pandemic started, I started wearing my regular hair, but as soon as I walked outside, I had an afro again. I felt like,
oh man,
I felt like I was back in the 70s, and so I mean, even now, afro is not a bad thing, but I didn't want to wear an afro. I was out at I had to go to a funeral, and I was out at the cemetery, and it wasn't raining, but it was humid, and my hair kind of just puffed up. And so I said, I'm going to have to go back. If I want my hair to do what I want it to do, I'm going to have to go back to wearing a protective style, especially if I'm going to be jogging and stuff like that.
Working out.
Sweating, it's going to puff up again. So just about taking care of it. And
taking care of yourself. Like, since I've been working out, I've been the queen of braids, and I'm loving them. I've had braids for probably a whole year now, and I want to go back. I can't wait to get some more. But I took my braids out so you can see the little pattern.
Nice.
The little curl pattern.
Nice.
I rarely do this. So I haven't had a, I grew up, I always had a hair press, with the hot comb, and then I convinced my mother to let me get a perm like sometime in middle school. So I don't have that story about the perm broke out my hair, but I will say, when I figured out I didn't really need a perm, I stopped. So I haven't had a perm probably in 10 years. But it's been difficult to manage, trying to figure out, sometimes you want your hair straight, sometimes you want it curly. You don't want to put heat in it because heat damages our hair. We can't wash our hair every day because it'll dry it out. So, but, I'm practicing during quarantine time some things, because I don't even do this. Normally it's braids, a sew-in, or I get my hair straightened. So
same.
what you guys?
Same.
Nah, y'all looking good, but I remember one time it was like New Year's, and this one I became aware of the humidity issue or whatever. And so we was riding, we was going downtown because they was having like a concert and all that stuff for New Year's and stuff like that. And then you know what I'm saying, and baby was like, man, it's too hot out here. My hair like go be, you know what I'm saying, go mess up. I'm looking at him like, what you talking about? Your hair looks fine or whatever. So by the time we got downtown and parked, I looked over. I thought it was Michael Jackson Thriller. I was like, oh my God. I was like, my fault. She was pissed off at me too.
It's a real problem. So
it's a real thing. So just make sure you say, "Oh, baby, you're just so beautiful."
Your natural,
it looks good either way.
That
either
natural
way.
hair.
It was dark outside, so you know maybe ain't nobody see.
Nah, that's funny. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I struggle with my hair situation. My husband told me I used to wear it in a big like a curly fro with some braids in the front, real ethnic, like Jill Scott used to wear her hair. Yeah. And I came home after I got it done, and he looked at me and said, I don't know, I don't like ethnic hairstyles. And I said, but you married an ethnic woman, so what are you talking about? And so after that, he never said anything else. I said, if you want me straight hair all the time, you need to pay for it. And he was like, oh, okay, well, never mind. It's fine. I like it. It's good.
Afrocentricism and Eurocentrism. I think that's a good topic. We need to have that.
It's definitely a good topic. Absolutely. And we can talk all day on how Black women conform, especially with our hair. I mean, and I know Black men, you conform in some ways too, but when it comes to our physical appearance and things that are socially acceptable and professional.
But white women too?
Huh?
White women too?
Why they conform to be socially acceptable?
No, but they have just as much as Black women have Eurocentrism issues. White women have those issues.
Oh yeah,
well, hold up, we're gonna speak about this later.
Venus versus Mars coming soon.
Dang it! I wanted to get into that.
The man is always trying to silence the woman.
I know. Why we gotta be quiet now? Oh, it's the end. We running out of time.
Yeah, time is
very convenient.
Is of the essence.
If to our listeners out there, we appreciate the love. If you're listening to Spotify, please follow us. If you're watching YouTube videos, please subscribe. If you're on Anchor, keep follow us as well.
iTunes and Apple Podcasts. We on every platform.
Go to our Instagram page at Acoustic Chef. Follow us on Instagram. Go to Facebook, like our page there. Twitter, follow us as well. Share, and please. If y'all got relationship questions, you have investment questions. We got doctors up here on this panel, guys. We got people with their master's degree, people that have written dissertations. We got business owners. We have people that are in education. I mean, we're covering all bases. So please, hit us up, DM us, or hit us up at acousticchefpodcast@gmail.com. Don't forget to share. The email at the bottom of the page, y'all be able to see it. Just look down and you'll see the email.
Straight up. Y'all have a good day.
All right. Have a good day.
Chef,
Peace.
We out.
Yeah.